Hey everyone, are you feeling like Microsoft Excel is like learning a foreign language which you will never master? I can understand how that can be frustrating and daunting task every time you have to work with Microsoft Excel. I also used to hate Microsoft Excel, but what if I could tell you that doesn't have to be the case? Because I believe with any skill in life, when you get the basics right, you can actually be able to do various Microsoft Excel tasks even if you are a complete beginner. So let's go. So this is going to be a completely free Microsoft Excel course just for you. I guarantee you, if you watch this course from start to finish, you are going to become an expert Microsoft Excel user. Just grab a cup of coffee and let me show you some important Microsoft Excel tips and tricks. But if you really want to learn well, what I recommend you guys do is watch this video on your tablet and fire up that computer and enter in data with me. I promise that's a much better way to learn. So let's go. First off, what is Microsoft Excel? Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet program that is used to collect, process, and display on screen some kinds of values. It lets us create tables and chart. Hi there, my name is Robert Onyango. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Tech Skills with Robert. I created this channel to help you advance your career with high in demand skills. So what do you need to start using Microsoft Excel? You are going to need three things. The very first thing that you need to do is to purchase and install on your computer something called Microsoft Office 365. You are also going to need your basic knowledge of operating a computer, an internet connection, and your willingness to learn. And that's why I created this video, Microsoft Excel tutorial for beginners. I'm going to teach you the very basics of Microsoft Excel that you really need to know to start crushing your entries today. We are going to learn the very basics of Microsoft Excel and build our way up gradually. And here are the 7 Excel layout concepts that you really need to master to crush your Excel like a pro. The first one is understanding host of templates and a blank workbook, columns, rows, and cells, selecting and naming ranges, saving and creating a workbook, entering cell values and data in Excel. And lastly, we're going to look at functions and formulas. So here we are in Microsoft Excel. I'm going to take you through this walkthrough Excel layout and a host of templates you need to know. As you can see right down here is a list of my recent spreadsheet on the left down here and a blank workbook right here, which will be our main domain today. So the cool thing about Excel, it offers a host of templates, budget template from sales templates, as you can see, a wedding budget tracker, and there's this button here, more templates, you can click on to load for you more and more options. So you can come here on this search button and browse more templates. Let's say you're planning a wedding with your fiancé and you like to track your expenses. So you just type wedding budget. Yes, so you'll be able to see a host of all these templates. You can choose on anyone. You click on this and customize according to your need or your desires. So we're going to close this and go back right here, and our main focus will be this blank new book. I'm just going to double click on it to open. And now that you've understand the Excel workbook and the templates, I want to introduce more advanced concept like Excel layout, the anatomy of Excel. And here we are. I'm going to explain to you this. I'm going to show you this home tab, insert tab, this layout, this formulas tab, this a review tab. And whenever I clicked on home tab, you can see each of the time the ribbons, these are called ribbons, the ribbons change. And this one is data ribbon. You can see the changing there. So whenever I click on home tab, you'll be able to see that the ribbons are subdivided into groups, and you can see clipboard, font, alignment, and so forth. And some of the ribbons don't fit in the group provided, and therefore you have this dialog launch box, this button here. When you click it, you'll be able to see more ribbons. You can, for instance, when I check this strike through, you'll be able to see this one. If I uncheck it, you'll be able to see that happening. So I just close that. Another thing I want to go explain to you is these letters you see here, A, B, C, these are called columns. So when I click on E, I've selected the entire column, and on the left here you see these numbers. These are called rows. So when I click on 5, this is row 5, I've selected entire row 5. So these columns run up to A to Z, then it starts A, and the pattern repeats itself, and there are billions of these cells, as you can see. So whenever I click at any point on this grid-like structure with these lines crisscrossing each other, so this point is called a cell, and we can find the name of this here on the name box. So this is column F, as we have just seen, and row 6. So the intersection of column F and row 6 is the name of this cell, F6, and this one is also H3, and this one is also M7, is on column M and row 7. So that is how we name cells. And another thing I want to do, I'll just click here and hold on my mouse and drag downwards to the right and stop there. So this is a range. A group of selected cell is called a range. So we can name range similarly the way we've named cell, and we start with the top leftmost cell, which is E3, and we say through H7. So the name of this range is E3 through H7, or as well you can use a colon notation. You just say E3 colon H7. That is how we can name a range. Try naming this range and let me know your answer in the comment section. Another thing I would want you to know, think of your paper notebook. When we were kids in school, we used to have like a paper notebook with grid-like structure where you could enter values, you could enter numbers, and the paper notebook had pages, like the pages were inside a notebook. Similarly to Excel workbook, it got pages inside it, and the pages in this case they are called sheets. So Excel got sheet, you can add sheet, and this is sheet 1. You can click on this plus button here and you'll be able to add another sheet, and you can still click on this plus sign or symbol, this one, and you'll still be able to add another sheet. So we have sheets, and you can also play around with these sheets and rename it. For instance, if I was teaching you guys computer studies, I'll just rename this. I'll just say right click on this and rename it Excel. We are learning Excel, rename it Excel. And let's say I was teaching you guys another unit like maths, just name this maths, and you can be able to have several templates on an Excel workbook, as many as you wish. So now that we've learned the anatomy of Excel, range, cell, and Excel layout, I will be introducing more advanced concept in the next section. Places, I just want to type destination ID, and I'm just going to hit tab to move to the next active cell, and I'm just going to enter airline name, the airline I'll be using. I'll tap tab to move to the next active cell, and I'll just enter flight cost, how much will be my ticket, and I'm just going to use enter, or you can as well use the arrow keys, the left arrow key, the upward and the downward arrow key on your keyboard. When you hit the right arrow key, it will move you to the next active cell on a row, and there I'm going to enter resort name or hotel name of the place I will spend my days. And the next record entry I want to make is accommodation cost, how much it costs to stay in such a fancy hotel. And the next entry, I just want to put the number of days, and I want to say here flight date, when I plan to travel, flight date, and boom, I've made my first record entry. So that is how you enter data in Excel.
Now that we've made our first successful entry into the first row, I want to make the first entry of my destination. So here I'm just going to enter numbers. I'm just going to enter 1, and I'm going to hit enter to move on to the next cell below, and 2, I hit enter, 3, I hit enter, 4. So there's a pattern you can see here to move from cell 1 to cell number 3, from cell A2 to cell A3, there is a pattern plus 1, and to move to cell A4 there is plus 1. So there is plus 1 from to the previous cell to get to the next cell. So that pattern, what I can as well do is to put my cursor down here, and you see this corner here, this intersection point of this cell. When I put my cursor there, it turns into a thick plus sign, and when I left click on my mouse and drag downwards, the Excel will be able to detect a pattern and help me fill that. So once that happens, I'll just come here to this box here down here, and copy is called a fill handle, and fill series. I select fill series, and Excel will be able to number that. So Excel will be able to number that for me to help me avoid the repetitive task of numbering that manually. So the next thing I want to do here is enter the airline I'll be using, and that I want to enter Vietnam Airline. I just want to put that flight cost. I want to say $800, and the next thing here, hotel name, I want to put Novotel La Long Bay, and I will use my arrow key to move to the next cell. Accommodation, I want to say $200, and days, I want to say 5 days, and flight date, I want to say something like, let's say 4/April 2025. I know in America there is like you start with a month, day, year. You can start with day, month, year. Some places you start with year, day, month. So it doesn't matter. I'll as well show you how to format that in my future video series. So we've successfully made our first record entry into this Excel worksheet, and I'm going to make our second record entry. And on the airline, I'm just going to type the name of the airline, and I want to say Aegean Airline. I'm going to use tab to move to the next active cell, and I'm going to enter the flight cost, $1,200, and the hotel name tab is Santorini. So now it reads Santorini Palace Hotel. So the next thing I want to do, you see these numbers here, the flight cost and the accommodation cost, these are currency. I want to format these cells in terms of currency. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to double click inside to get inside this cell and move backward before the number 8 to insert a $sign, and on my keyboard I'm going to shift letter number 4 to add a $sign there on my PC, but for Mac users it could be different, but the process is pretty similar. So you'll notice when I hit enter, I move to the next cell, and I don't want to repeat that process. I'm just going to click on that cell with that currency format, and I'm just coming here on the clipboard home tab, clipboard group, and when I click on this brush like thing, it's called format painter. I'm going to copy the pattern, and when I copy the pattern, I place it on that cell C3, and you see the currency will be copied. And I'm just going to copy that pattern again and place it on this range. I just selected that range, and boom, I've selected that. So in the next series, I'm going to enter a few more datas, and I will resume soon. Well, I just completed entering data into my Excel worksheet, and on this video segment, I'm going to explain to you how to save your Excel worksheet. So to save this, first you can click here, and the keyboard shortcut to save, when I just click here save, it's gonna save it. And another keyboard shortcut for save is like I just say Control S, I press Control S, and it's going to save my document. And another way to save it, since I'm saving this for the first time, you just come here and like you say just come here to file and you say select save as, and I'm going to save as, and it's loading that. I'm going to save it in my desktop, and I just say my computer is hanging. I just say travel bucket list, and boom, that is saved. It's now on my PC, on my on my PC there, on my desktop. So another thing, I want to convert this data into a table, so I'm just coming here on insert, and I'll just select table, and everything will be selected. I want to first, to do that, you first select the first topmost cell, then you come here on insert. Let me undo that, sorry. Just come here at the first cell and select table, and it will now highlight everything. And once everything is highlighted, is selected rather, you can click here. You click here table, then it will bring this dialog box here, and when you say okay, you see a beautiful table will have been added there. So that is how you convert data into a table. Another thing I want to show you, I just come back here on home tab, is how to find and replace data inside here. For instance, when you look at the dates I entered here, the flight dates, you'll notice that some dates or quickly can change some few, like this one. I just want to come here on the formula tab and put, for instance, here 2023, and maybe this one as well. I click on this and I come here on the formula tab and I click put 2023. So whenever I want to change anything, I can change it here on the formula tab, or I can go and change it on its particular cell. So once I've changed that, I just want to show you how to use find and replace. So find and replace is this magnifying lens icon here. When you click on it, you'll see find, and you come here, it opens that dialog box, and you say we want to find, for instance, where there is 2023. So you just type 2023. We want to find all that, and we're going to replace. We want to find all 2023, and we're going to replace. You click on this replace all that with 2025, so that everything is uniform 2025. So when you find all, then you replace all right here on the left. When you click that and you say okay, the two replacements have been made, so everything right here is replaced. So that is how you can use that to do corrections. So another thing I would like to show you is for instance, how to insert another column. Let's say we want to find the total cost of accommodation cost and flight cost. You just come here, the days, we want to insert a column there, so you just come here, and when you select that column F and right click, it's gonna open this list. You click on this insert, and when you click, a column is inserted there, and you can just come here on the formula tab and write that as total. In the previous section, I just showed you how you can insert a column in your Excel table, and in this video segment I want to show you how you can insert also a row. So I'm just coming here on the top row, and I'm just going to select the entire row. And once I select the entire row, I'm going to right click on my mouse, and when I right click, I come down here to insert option. When I click insert, a top row has been inserted there. Now that you've learned how you can insert columns and insert rows and add title and margin center into your Excel table, I want to show you another important feature of Microsoft Excel in this next section of the video. And I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to hit on this horizontal scroll bar, and you can see when I scroll to the left, my table disappears, and when I also scroll to the north or the south of this Excel table, you can see my table disappear using my vertical scroll bar here. And I also got a zoom scale here. You can zoom in and you can zoom out as well, and normal view is 100. You can even come here to view tab and click view, and you put it 100. That will always put your screen on normal view. So that gives me opportunity to teach you a very important feature of Microsoft Excel, and I'm going to teach you how to make this top row and even the first column to be constant. Whenever you scroll, it stays intact so that you'll be able to see it when you scroll, so that you are able to enter more data. So I'm going to teach you that. So the first thing you need to do to make this column to stay whenever you scroll to the right, like right now you can see whenever I use my arrow key to scroll, the column disappears, and you don't want that to happen because maybe you want to be referring to this first column. So click on, select the cell next to it, and when you select on that cell, go to your tab view, on your view tab, and when you go to your view tab, select freeze column. Freeze first column is right here, and now the first column is frozen. So whenever I go back to my keyboard and hit that arrow key towards the right, you'll see that the column is not moving anymore. And whenever I also want to freeze the top row, I'll just come to these rows below it. I select these two rows, and when I select that, I just come to view tab, I come freeze panes, and I'm just going to say freeze top row. And whenever I scroll now, you will realize the top row is not moving anymore. I can just say freeze top row. You can unfreeze as well and freeze whenever you want. So that feature is very important. I just want to quickly highlight some keyboard shortcuts that are very important, that will make your data entry work or whatever project you're working on easy. So if you want to copy, let's say something on Excel, you can use Control C. If you want to cut something, you use Control X. If you want to paste something, you use Control V. And if you want to create a table, instead of going here on insert, you select table, just say Control T, and another table will be created. And if you want to print, for instance, this Microsoft Excel book, just come here, File, and select print. Whenever you select print, you see your table will be there. You can view it, and right here you can play with the orientation. Put it on portrait if you want it to be printed on vertical format. If you want it on horizontal format, you select landscape. And that leads me to the next segment of this video, in this workbook right here, and this gives me an opportunity to teach you a very important feature of Microsoft Excel. As you may be aware, Excel is particularly built to store tiny details, and that is where massive power of Excel lies in. So I'm just going to teach you some Excel functions and formulas that are very important, and how even you can enter a formula in Excel. So in the previous lesson, we learned how to insert a column, and we inserted column for total expense. I just removed the values so that I can use this column to demonstrate how you can enter formula in Excel. So before we enter a formula, what maybe first we learn what is a function. Referring back to my algebraic class when I was a sophomore in high school, we learned about a function as a relationship between two input and output data. For instance, you learn something like y is equal to x plus 3. That is a function. Excel uses the same principle to store Excel formulas and functions. And for instance, here in the formula bar, as I told you at the beginning of this video, you can see this is just a function. Fx is the name of the function, f here, and this is just an input variable. For instance, we could say y equals to fx. The next section of our video, we're going to talk about Excel functions and formulas that are typically used in Excel, and we're just going to look at the very first function. Let's say we want to find average of this data. You just come here and enter equal sign. Whenever you enter equal sign in Excel, Excel already knows that you want to enter a function, and you just type average, put open parentheses and select the range of this data we want to find. Average is that range, and let's say I select this range right here, and I just close the parentheses and hit enter.
So thank you so much for watching this video, and that wraps up our Microsoft Excel tutorial for beginners. So in the next video, I will be teaching you more advanced Excel concepts like VLOOKUP, conditional formatting, and pivot tables. Please turn on the notification bell and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.